Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vidur. I am the Chief Executive Officer of CARPL.ai, and I am not going to be presenting any slides. So it's going to be Greg Sorensen. We all know him as the Chief Science Officer and founder of DeepHealth, now at RadNet, along with Morris Panner and his selfies. I'm sure we'll see one today. Who is the president of Intelerad. I have the privilege of calling both of them friends and partners. Please, guys. And we're going to do this super awkward Academy Awards thing where we'll all stand around these mics and try to make our points. So CARPL.ai is an AI platform company. Everybody's an AI platform company, it seems nowadays. We're a little bit different. We have 250 AI solutions from all over the world. We're used by some of the world's top radiology groups. But most importantly, over the past year or so, we've built partnerships with some of the world's top technology providers. And of course, Intelerad and DeepHealth stand here as that. Why would an AI platform provider require such deep partnerships with PACS companies, risk companies, workflow companies? Is because we fundamentally believe that if we are going to take the radiologist's attention away from their workstation, from their screen to anywhere else, we're just going to lose time, we're going to lose attention, we're going to lose focus. And that's where, we've partnered with both DeepHealth and Intelerad. And I'm going to be asking both of these gentlemen a few interesting questions over the next 20 odd minutes. And let's see where this goes. Also, we are very much open to audience participation. If you have any question, raise your hand, shout out, talk. Portable mics are not allowed here, so we'll have to figure it out. But at the outset, Greg, so DeepHealth, massive company, part of RadNet, massive business, a lot of intellect, a lot of talent, a lot of good things happening. Why does DeepHealth need to partner with a platform provider such as us?
Well, thanks for the question, Vidur, and it's great to be here with you. And it is a little awkward for us to stand so close, but it's a good thing that I've been friends with Morris for a long time and with you. So it's a friendly group, and I'm sure we'll be close here. Look, the value of having access to so many tools is, I think, as you've shown, what customers really want. It's what a radiologist wants. They want access to as broad a portfolio of innovation as they can manage. And I think what we found and have so valued with CARPL is the architecture that you built enables us to bring those tools to our doctors in a very seamless way. It's effort to do what you've done. And if we can leverage your effort, whether that's on the integration side or the spectacular work you guys have done around measuring performance of different tools, both of those are things that it just felt so much more logical to partner with a trusted friend, candidly, than try to reinvent that wheel ourselves.
No, I think, thank you, Greg, for being so generous with your words. So essentially, we had the privilege of working with DeepHealth on a massive validation study for chest x-rays, 100,000 chest x-rays run through 10 different AI, data being ingested at 1,000 x-rays a minute. I don't know if you even know that, but 1,000 x-rays a minute, 1,000 x-rays an hour getting inferenced through 10 different AI algorithms and all of that. So it was super exciting for our tech team. They couldn't sleep. Maybe it was a good thing. But Morris, again, have the privilege of calling you a friend. I am an Intelerad customer, right? I use IntelliViewer. How does life become different for me with this partnership?
So it's a great question. And Vidur, thank you for having us. For us, it's a high-stakes decision to partner with anybody because we are very, I would say, prominent and widely used inside of the ambulatory radiology world. And that world is under a lot of pressure. What they are fundamentally trying to do is meet a capacity-demand mismatch. I was at another panel today that said it's 10 to 1. In other words, there's 10 people who need a scan for everybody who can get one. That's how I translate it. And that's kind of a public health crisis. So when we have an opportunity to improve that productivity, we want to do it. But what happened, I think, is this goes back actually, Dr. Sorensen and I are friends, and when he exited before he did his current trajectory, we met for what is his famous hot chocolate inside of a chocolate shop in Cambridge. And he said, I'm going to do the new thing. This is probably 10 years ago. I'm going to do the new thing. I'm going to code some AI. And I said, it's great. Who's going to do that? He said, I am. I'm going to sit in my basement. I'm going to go do this. And one of the things that happened in that past 10 years is a lot of people started coding incredible things. And each one of them has the potential to be able to be very valuable. The problem is it's not easy to find a middleware application, is how I would describe it, as a platform where you can try these things, where then if you like them, you can integrate them. If you don't like them, you can deprecate them. You can experiment. There's a lot of complexity in that. Each one of those would be an IT project that would kind of slow you down. So why we love working together is their life, we don't quite know how it's going to change. And that's the whole point, is neither do they. And what they need to do is have a platform that lets them experiment and benchmark against what would be the best outcome. I don't know whether that captures some of what you're thinking about or whether that relates to your experience as well.
Absolutely.
No, that's incredible. And Greg, and first, any thoughts on that? And secondly, if you could share with us an example of, whether in the partnership or out of it, of where you've seen like real world ROI coming from AI deployment. You've been doing a lot of that at RadNet as well. Love your thoughts.
Yes, thanks, Fedor. And it's true, Morris and I have been friends long enough that we have shared hot chocolate together. And I would say, one of the realities that we live with at RadNet, it's public. We're not a wildly profitable company. Like you could look at our stock market and reports. And
compared to most of the startups, I think
we are profitable. That's true. But my point is that we are under cost pressures that are visible in a really clear way. And so for us to do AI, it has to be sustainable. There has to be a model for it to actually persist. Otherwise, we're doing a short-term experiment that just ends. And that's required quite a bit of innovation. And we have found some ways to do that. And when we find those ways, we really run with it. And I think having thought partners and being able to explore, to Morris's point, there's innovation happening all the time. Where will those innovations happen? How can we bring them in? That is the essence of I think, sustainable innovation. I spent a long time in academia where I would have an idea and I'd publish it and it would be cool, but would it ever really impact people at scale? Maybe not, because the adoption might not have been sustainable. And I think we're all looking for that in AI, and we have found a couple. We found some really serious home runs, whether it's our Mammo AI has been very successful and is a real revenue stream for us, and as we just published 2 weeks ago, fantastic benefit to patients. 21% better cancer detection in over 500,000 women. Nature Health paper, awesome work. But also now, just this year, with the acquisition of a thyroid software from this little Australian company called C-Mode, plugging that in has been just remarkably beneficial to our docs. They're faster. We reduced the scan time slots from 30 minutes to 20 minutes, so there's a clear business case. Same tech, same room, now generating 50% more scans. Like, wow, that's the kind of AI that groups, I think, around the world are hungry for and has a kind of self-evident business model. We need more of those, and exploring and figuring out how, I think, is why partnering with CARPL, is going to be so valuable.
Sure.
Anything to add to that, Morris? Or
Well, I think the key is sustainable innovation. I love that term. And in our world, sustainable innovation is pretty simple. And actually, you talked to me about this. You said, listen, every time that I think about adding anything, I think about it as I know kind of what my revenue is. In the US in particular, it's a very clear model of a per fee reimbursement. And unless you're doing something that somehow expands that top line or improves the bottom line, it is no longer going to be sustainable, because otherwise it's just a way it's not going to compute for anybody who is running a practice, and it's almost an impossible sell. So what's important about the platform is you can then measure this, and it's actually, although AI is very technical and very hard to understand, and it's evolving fast, the business fundamentals are, as you could put them on a napkin and you would know. You could have a conversation in 2 minutes to decide whether this application is worth it or not once you get the data back from a couple of months of usage.
No, thanks. I think, and that's been a consistent theme both at CARPL and I think in the industry as well. Is I don't think anybody is doubting the does it work part of AI, but it's more around now. Is it useful, right? And
yeah, I mean, this is again part of the sort of fun/challenge of being at a place like RadNet. When you have 400 centers, you can pilot, but like you know the goal is to scale to times 400. So like if it doesn't work, you can't make it up on volume, right? It's really got to work. And then if it does work, then you want to scale it. And so that is what's fun about sort of it really focuses the mind to make sure the innovations that you're thinking about can be sustainable. And they have to work for the radiologist, they have to work for the technologist, they have to work for the practice. Like it has to work all the way around. And when it does, it's a thing of beauty. And it's a lot of fun.
And one of the things that I think is noteworthy about that, when we talk about scale, one of the reasons we have done this is that our scaled customers have wanted it. And so one of the things that is always interesting, we also have a short attention span because we're desperately trying to do a lot more than we have time to do. So it's very hard to accept in a weird way. You would think it would be easy, but we really have to, when we bring outside innovation in, we have to have a driving sort of force for that. And our customers really define that agenda in a way. And we have some very big partnerships, interestingly, not always in the United States. And I think you and I have chatted about this. Ex-US is a very hotbed of AI innovation. I think one of the ones we were talking about was QScan in Australia, and there are others, but that is kind of when you talk about 400 centers, they have an appreciable share of the Australian radiology market. They're growing, they're innovating, but that happened ex-US, which I think is just kind of an interesting element.
That's right. In fact, I'd like to add that QScan, we're very proud of the partnership there because it was one of those cases that now we're trying to replicate where we co-built a solution along with a customer and Intelerad. So 3 parties building a solution. So the nuance there is that Australia started a lung cancer screening program in July this year. But the parameters are a little different from other parts of the world. And we have, close collaborators such as Riverrain, Coreline, Infravision that have such products, but they are not built for Australia. So we built the UI layer for it in conjunction with both Intelerad and QScan. And now we have a product where, at the back end, you plug in your favorite AI, the front end remains constant, deeply integrated into your packs. You often cannot even tell the difference that you're in a non-PACS environment. And that, leads to, I think, customer happiness.
Yeah.
So would love to hear, if you've heard anything good from them.
So we have heard nice things, and I think fundamentally what you point out is this was response to a real world supply capacity mismatch. Lung cancer screening is a very complex thing. It sounds like it should be the easiest thing in the world. It is not. And to be able to have a platform that drives that kind of innovation, coupled with a true public health need, coupled with a business outcome, they love that. And it's part of what I think has cemented that ability to co-develop and work together.
So let's switch tracks a little bit. And I'd love to know, Greg, what can go wrong with AI? What do you fear with AI?
Nothing.
Well, it's funny. I think for sure we all are not ready for self-driving cars to be completely. Although you and I rode in one that seemed to work well. So I think there's.
We were reminded of New Delhi twice in that car.
Yeah, that's
And you
true.
live to tell the tale.
Yes, and we live. Yeah. No, I think. Look, I think all of us want to be able to trust the AI, and that means validation. It means validation at scale. And I think we want to trust the AI and I think this is a challenge I would put in front of everybody, that we want the AI to be better for our patients. We don't want it just to make us faster. We actually want a better clinical outcome for the care we provide. And that's a challenge we push ourselves for at DeepHealth, and I would push the industry for it. If it's just making the doctor faster, I think we ultimately will not find a sustainable model, because why adopt something just out of efficiency? There's too many examples of where those kinds of ideas have been tried and then just not picked up. And so what I fear about AI is that it'll get distracted and make dumb videos, or whatever you want to take as the analogy, instead of actually focusing on real problems that will help. I mean, there are so many, to your point, unsolved problems, unmet medical needs in radiology, and we're in a position to impact so much of care because we're at the front end, we're at the middle, we're at the monitoring stage. And we're fully digital. We are the specialty best suited to capture the innovation that's happening by the hyperscalers and the rest of the AI world and deploy it. But the key is focusing on the right questions. And lung cancer screening is a great example of a really important, valuable thing that saves. I mean, you probably have heard this, but when I started medical school, if you got of 100 people who got lung cancer, 81 of them died within 5 years. Like, that was the situation. With the best drugs we have, that number gets into the 70s. With lung cancer screening, it's in the 50s. Like, it's just so much better than all the drugs and all the therapies that people have been doing. Finding the cancer early is curable, and the UK has shown they're getting the majority of their lung cancer now is 70% plus are in early stage. So, like, we as radiology, that's a really awesome thing that we have to bring, and focusing on how to make those kinds of solutions better is not, it's true in lung cancer screening, it's true in other kinds of cancer screening, but there's so many other areas where if we focused on, let's find ways to help the patient with our AI, I think we'd have a much better chance of being sustainable.
What do you feel?
Well, it's interesting. I echo what Dr. Sorensen said, but I would actually say one of the risks right now we run is not using AI coupled with some of these screening programs. Because what I worry about actually is the kind of uncontrolled train of incidental findings that have no kind of framework. And I think that AI coupled with screening starts to make the problem manageable and approachable. Actually, without AI, I think it starts to become a little bit unwieldy and may collapse under its own weight. So one of the risks, ironically, is not using it, which is part of why we're excited to reduce the barrier for people to use it. It doesn't mean it doesn't require, it requires everything you said. But if you just run a screening program without AI, you're going to be like really pondering a lot of tough ethical questions too, I think, about what do you do.
I think, very insightful. I had not actually thought that those would be the answers I would get. Like, one is essentially underutilization of AI, or making the wrong kind of products, right? And building in silos, I think, is something that startups often fall into that trap. So yeah, to everybody who's building AI out there, please do involve your clinical teams. As we end, I think we have about a minute left. I will end with some shameless self-promotion. So Greg and Morris, if you could tell the team out here, how is it like to work with CARPL?
Two thumbs up.
Two thumbs up. Well, we have had a great time, and I think one of the things the CARPL team has distinguished themselves on, and Vidur, this is a testament to you, he has worked extremely hard to build a culture of very responsive people, because one of the things about doing AI deployments is they go wrong every single time. I mean, I think it's inevitable.
By definition.
And if you don't have a responsive team that is committed to being part of your team, it's over. And Vidur and his team, I think, meet that really nicely.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you. I don't know if you can see, I have tears in my eyes. But thank you, Morris. Greg, means a lot. This would not be done without, Morris, one of your selfies. So let's involve everyone in it, if possible.
I love that idea.
So
I was going to do it without any prompt, but now I can do it legally. So this is fantastic. All right, ready?
Greg, we have
I make the worst selfies in the world.
Okay.
My kids will be horrified. Oh, all right.
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.